Is reality actually as it seems, or is it merely a figment of our imagination? This conundrum has baffled, fascinated, and bamboozled some of the greatest thinkers and philosophers since time immemorial. It's like trying to figure out why socks disappear in the laundry, only a tad more profound. So, buckle up as we embark on an enthralling journey into the realm of philosophy. Now, what is reality really? Is it the world we perceive with our senses, sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell? Or is it just a grand magic show, an illusion weaved by our incredibly complex and often confusing minds? Kind of like when you walk into a room and forget what you came in for. Welcome to the cryptic world of metaphysics, which tries to decode this elaborate riddle. Let's look at some philosophers who've dabbled in this subject. Take Immanuel Kant, for example. Kant believes that reality, or the noumenon, is like that last piece of cake in the fridge. You know it's there, but it's out of your reach. What we perceive is the phenomenon, a reality distorted, twisted, and shaped by our senses, understanding, and perhaps the time we spent binge-watching reality TV shows last night. On the other side of the philosophical coin, we have George Berkeley's philosophy. His school of thought, known as idealism, is like the plot of a sci-fi movie. Reality only exists when it is perceived. So, if a tree falls in a forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? Not according to Berkeley. For him, the existence of all objects is fundamentally tied to the presence of perceiving minds. Without these minds, the objects cease to exist, much your self-control when you see a chocolate cake. This view is radical. It's like deciding to wear a pink tutu to a black tie event, but it serves to highlight the crucial role of perception in defining reality. It underscores how the observer is interlinked with the observed, like a parent with a teenager. You can't have one without the other. It's a stark reminder that reality is not just an external entity, but also reflects our internal thought processes. A radical view, but it really gets you thinking about how our minds shape our reality. So now, it's your turn. What's your perception of reality? Is it like a crisp pizza or more of a soggy sandwich? This brings us to the intriguing question of knowledge. I ask you, can we truly know anything? This question has plagued mankind for centuries, pushing individuals to delve into the deepest recesses of their minds, questioning the very nature of reality, and our understanding of this profound inquiry forms the crux of epistemology, the philosophical study of knowledge itself. Among the myriad philosophers who pondered this question, René Descartes stands out. Known as the father of modern philosophy, Descartes embarked on a painstaking quest for certain knowledge. He adopted a radical approach by doubting everything, questioning the very fabric of his existence. He doubted his senses, his thoughts, everything that he perceived or conceived, creating a vortex of skepticism. As he grappled with this whirlpool of doubt, he arrived at his famous conclusion, cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. Descartes argued that the very act of doubting one's existence confirms that one exists. One exists. The mere fact that he was capable of doubting his existence, that he was able to question his reality, meant he existed. This is because the act of doubting or questioning requires a conscious being capable of thought. Hence, if he were doubting, he must be thinking, and if he were thinking, he must undeniably. His existence, therefore, was irrefutable. Yet Descartes' perspective was not the end-all of the discussion. Other philosophers raised their own questions and theories, challenging his views. Among these challengers was David Hume, a Scottish Enlightenment philosopher, who came with a different perspective. Put up a brave challenge to the of knowledge. He argued that many of our beliefs, the so-called knowledge we claim to have, are based on habit or custom, not rational proof. For instance, we believe the sun will rise tomorrow because it has always risen. We've seen it happen day after day, year after year. But is this belief based on rational proof? Is it irrefutable fact that the sun will rise tomorrow? No. It's based on habit, on the pattern that we've observed. But can we be absolutely certain? Can we say without a shred of doubt that the sun will rise tomorrow? We can't. We simply believe it will because it always has. But belief does not equate to certainty, and that's the essence of argument. It's a humbling reminder of the limitations of our knowledge. However, David Hume, a Scottish Enlightenment philosopher, challenged the certainty of knowledge. He pointed out that many of our beliefs are based on habit or custom, not rational proof. We assume the sun will rise tomorrow because it always has, but can we be absolutely certain? Now, I ask you, do you believe we can truly know anything? Now, let's pivot to morality. Many have pondered the question, is it universal or relative? This thought-provoking inquiry about the essence of morality lies at the heart of philosophical discussions, introspections. It brings to mind the inherent dilemmas of human existence, our choices and our actions. The intricate complexities of morality and the ethical implications of our decisions, an intricate web debates and inquiries. The study of morality, also known as ethics, proves to be an indispensable branch of philosophy. Much like the roots of a tree, it extends deeply into the soil of human intellect, providing sustenance for thoughts, theories, and perspectives that shape the world of intellectual discourse. It serves as a foundation for understanding human behavior, our choices, and the principles that guide our actions. This critical branch of philosophy has been explored and dissected by thinkers, scholars, and philosophers throughout the ages, each contributing to a rich tapestry of thoughts and ideas. One such influential philosopher was Immanuel Kant, a name synonymous with deep philosophical pondering. He was a philosopher who left his mark on the world of moral philosophy, among other areas. Building on the work of his predecessors, Kant proposed the notion of a categorical imperative. This was not just any idea, but a revolutionary concept. It presented an absolute moral law, grounding itself on the belief that this law applies to all rational beings universally. This imperative, according to Kant, is the defining yardstick of morality, an unchanging, unyielding standard that transcends the confines of individual perspective and cultural bias. However, not all philosophers align with Kant's perspective. The cultural relativists, a group of thinkers who present a counter-argument. They propose that morality, far from being universal, varies with culture. In their view, the ethical fabric of a society is woven from the threads of its cultural norms, values, and beliefs. Thus, what may be considered morally acceptable in one culture may not hold the same standing in another. They argue that universal moral laws or truths are a fallacy, a construct that does not hold water in the face of cultural diversity and plurality. Consequently, this dialogue between universality and relativity of morality continues to echo in philosophical halls. Is it universal or relative? However, cultural relativists argue that morality varies with culture, and thus there are no universal moral truths. Now we leave you with this question to ponder. Do you believe morality is universal or relative? So what have we learned? The fields of reality, knowledge, and morality are not as linear and transparent as they might initially appear to us. These concepts are profoundly intertwined, their relations, interactions, and overlaps forming a complex web of thought and perception. Their very nature, those intricate constructions that define them, their boundaries that seem to be in a constant state of flux, and their implications, are all subjects of riveting and intense philosophical debate, ongoing through centuries of thought progression. Metaphysics, that ancient branch of philosophy, is an instructive guide in our journey. It teaches us that reality, that absolute truth we believe we live in, may not be as we perceive it. It raises a question mark on our perceptions and interpretations, nudging us to consider that what we see, hear, and touch might just be a fragment of the larger truth, an illusion crafted by our limited senses. It provokes us to think beyond our perceptions, to delve into the abstract and the unseen. Epistemology, another critical branch of philosophy, introduces us to a world of intellectual challenges. It forces us to question the very nature of our knowledge, leading us to ask what we can truly know. How reliable is our understanding? How can we discern between real knowledge and mere belief or opinion? It sends us on an introspective journey, compelling us to examine the sources, nature, and limits of our knowledge. Ethics, the moral compass of philosophy, forces us to interrogate the universality of moral truths. It encourages us to challenge our value systems, our principles, and our judgments. What is right? What is wrong? Who decides? Are these judgments absolute or relative? It prompts us to dissect each of our moral choices, to weigh the consequences, to understand the ripple effects of our decisions. As we try to decipher these philosophical concepts, we realize that in the grand scheme of things, Every piece of knowledge we gain gives rise to new questions, new contemplations, and new dilemmas. But isn't that the beauty of philosophy? Philosophy doesn't merely aim to provide us with definitive answers. Instead, it encourages us to question, to ponder, to seek, and to explore. It promotes curiosity, introspection, and a quest for understanding. It appreciates the value of doubt and celebrates the courage to question. In conclusion, as we finish this exploration of philosophy, remember this: isn't about finding the right answers. It's about asking the right questions. It's not about reaching a destination, but about cherishing the journey. It's about understanding the complexity of our existence, our place in the universe, and the fluidity of our perceptions. So, continue to ponder, to question, and explore. Because in the realm of philosophy, the journey is just as important, if not more critical, than the destination. And as we wrap up, here's a question for you. What philosophical question intrigues you the most? Before we close, just a quick reminder. If you enjoyed this philosophical journey and crave for more thought-provoking content like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us dive deeper into the intellectual riches of philosophy. Stay tuned.